Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Hey, once again, thank you for tuning in to the Mad Hyde Outdoors YouTube channel. Much appreciated. Like always, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends if you like what you see. And if you don't, maybe stick around for a little bit more, a few more videos, and maybe you'll find something you like and you'll stick around a little longer. But I appreciate all the likes, all the subscribes. Really helps things get this thing off the ground and running. Excuse me, just want to talk about my weekend real fast and the Stockton Friday Nighter. Posted the video earlier about heading up to the lake and going to the Stockton Friday Nighter. If you don't know, the Stockton Friday Nighter is a tournament series. It's a club, but it's a tournament series that's been around for 27, 28 years. It was started by Perry Ayers back 27, 28 years ago, and I'm starting my 10th year on the in the club or on the circuit or whatever you want to call it. But we fish at nighttime. We fish Stockton Lake out of Stockton, Missouri, which is located in southwest Missouri. It's been fishing very, very tough lately, and I think we're starting to see the signs from COVID. And I know I've talked about this in my other videos, but I think we're starting to see the signs of all the fishing pressure that COVID brought when everybody was off work and at home, and they were telling everyone to get out and to fish and be outdoors, and that was great and all. But I think the lake is really showing signs. There's a lot of non-keepers missing from the lake that we had before COVID. I think there was a lot more fish taken out of that lake than what we really knew. People keeping fish, and everybody has that right. And I'm not one of those tournament guys that's griping about guys keeping keepers and going home and frying them. That's your right. The state says that the lake can sustain that and can handle it, so we're all good as far as that. So. But it's unfortunate when we're tournament fishing that we're not finding the consistency anymore of the keeper bite like we once were pre-COVID. But anyway, so Friday night recap. So got up there, we fished 7 to midnight. We generally fish 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. But because it's the first event, it's always a little slow after dark. We call it quits at midnight just to get everybody done, and everyone get home and this and that. So. Anyways, Jeremy and I flipped. We flipped a lot of Main Lake. We did not make the long run down the river. We did not run up into the dam, the lower lake area. We just stayed right there in the mid lake. Flipped a lot of, really did not get deep in any creek arm in particular. We, a lot of secondary pockets leading it back out to the main lake. Looked for areas where the fish really couldn't get into the jungle, as I call it. They could only go up the bank. They couldn't go back into the bank. Ended up, I caught my first keeper about 20 minutes or so into the night. Jeremy caught another one real quick, almost probably 10 yards apart. That gave us 2 keepers right off the bat. And then I caught a third one, and then it got a little slow. So we had 3 within the first hour. I found a little pocket that actually was a pond or a low depression that all this flood water had filled up, and there was actually some fish that were fry guarding back there, and I made a real good flip back in that little pond or that depression, that water, and that bass was right where it needed to be at the base of a bush, and caught it for keeper number 3. So we went a little bit longer. We ended up moving, going to another mid-lake pocket in one of the bigger creek arms. We didn't go all the way back. We watched several guys go back and forth out of the very backs. They didn't stay long, so we figured as many fish as we were catching that we'd made the right decision. We ended up catching keeper 4 and 5 out of the next spot, and then shortly after that, coming out about 9:30, we actually called 2 keepers. Jeremy had actually caught a keeper. Actually, it was a 15-inch Kentucky, which is kind of rare on Stockton. We ended up calling that fish out, and then I had one that was a line burner right at 15 that we ended up calling out. And then about 9:30, 9:45, we never caught another fish, neither one of us. Maybe got a few bites, maybe a fish picked it up, might have been a bluegill or a very small fish, but that's the way it was. We ended up fishing, getting back on time, getting tied up, and we got our weigh-in bag, and at one point, we weighed in 9:56, and at one point we were leading the tournament. We thought, okay. And then another team showed up. They had a 5 fish limit also. They had a big one. They had one over 5 pounds, about 5.5. They knocked us to second place. And then, I don't know, about 4 or 5 teams later, after that gentleman had weighed his team's fish, another guy had another solid bag. with a couple really good ones, and knocked us to third. So we ended up finishing third. It was a great points night overall. It's a great way to start the season. Jeremy flipped a Zoom Finesse Magnum Finesse Worm all night, green pumpkin. I just flipped a beaver, just a generic, beaver, no real brand, didn't really matter. Flipped it for a little bit. Then I flipped went back to a CJP Baits Creeper Crawl. It looks like a rage crawl. It's not a rage crawl. It doesn't have the same. It's a little thicker. It does hold. I feel like it holds up better than a normal rage crawl does. After several bites, they don't pull the pinchers off like they do the rage. It's a hardier bait. It's a little thicker, so that good flipping hook really gets through that plastic really well, especially after the first couple hook sets. It's like butter going through there, and it doesn't pull apart, doesn't break. You don't go through as many baits with Carters as you do with like a normal rage crawl. So check out CJP Baits. I was flipping the watermelon red flake and midnight shad, which is a black and blue with some glitter in it. Excellent bait, good choice after nighttime, especially flipping the bushes in the dark areas, the shadows. Really gives them a good profile to fish. But that was our night. Couldn't have been happier. Sorry, we're getting home from baseball practice. My son's getting out of the truck. So it was a great night overall. Really happy with it. Great, couldn't have really started out any better with a third place. Great points night. Like I said, on a tough Stockton Lake, we'll take a third place, take our points, and move on from there. So anyway, stay tuned. Had a big weekend. We went to Kansas City, watched the Power I-410 Outlaw Sprint Car Series run at the historical I-70 Speedway in Odessa. Got back this morning, took little man to baseball practice and coached baseball practice, and now we're back home. We're going to settle in this evening and have some brats and some hot dogs and call it a weekend. So anyway, stay tuned. Like I said, I always appreciate everybody's likes and follows and comments, and please subscribe and help the channel grow. So till next time, thank you all. God bless and good fishing.